Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another mod stream. It's an epic edition because it's that time of the year where now I have to say that I'm 1 year older. So, welcome to that. I had some sort of emoji prepped for this, but I must have deleted it. So now I've got to add that. So stay tuned. Hold on. One moment. Where is it? I'm glad that there's so many of these. There we go. You check that out. We can put it right there. Now that's what I'm talking about. So now we know it's an occasion, dude. Just have to delete that soon. Oh yes, and I was installing Armageddon again. So I got another ISO from Voyager. He tells me that this ISO should fix some of these issues. What the fuck is it now? Oh, just YouTube being stupid. Okay, so got some plugin updates. We got some music to put on. Surely I have it somewhere. Oh yeah, I was editing the bot profile database file thing for TS. Oh shit, there's crows in this image, dude. But yeah, I was editing that. That was pretty funny. Let's go to libraries, games, RTS, Armageddon, beta. Something tells me this is like one-to-one the same file. I mean, it's literally the same size. And this is the ISO that I used before. So I'm thinking it's somewhat likely, actually, that this is not going to work out very well at all. But I've uninstalled and reinstalled. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump in here. And it looks like I probably need to delete some of these folders because they probably weren't removed earlier. That's what I'm thinking. So then we can just rerun this, I guess. I'd probably have to run as admin. There we go. Okay. So now in pattern, Elka. Oh yeah, let me go and find all of the file names that I sent to Voyager because those will be useful. So they start with upside down question marks. One of them is this, I think. So now if we go to desktop, Armageddon, extract. All right, here's the moment of truth. Yeah, it still isn't working, so as expected. Unfortunate. Well, that's kind of sad. I'm not a fan of this particular mix. Obviously, you guys can't hear it, but it's some annoying, like, it's like a subdued EDM or something. So. All right, so what's on the agenda for today anyway? I did open up my... Oh, I'm glad that happened. I did open up my stuff here, so... I still want to take another look at the Templar stuff. Oh shit, there's a contact form. Dude, I don't know if I've ever received a contact thing. I wonder if this just goes to the void or something, if somebody actually does that. I should probably just remove that from the site index. You can just go to the about section and... Oh, there's more British people rapping over this EDM music. And I just have to wonder why. Alright, let's close that. Alright, so let's take another look through some of the graphics that I have here. Because I might have to use maybe like Battlemobile. I always call it Mobile instead of mobile, but whatever. I may have to end up using some junk, essentially. I think I already checked this, but I'm pretty sure that is still... That's like the same one that I had downloaded. Aha! Reported unwanted software site, by the way. What? I like how it says outright this file contains a virus. I've actually downloaded that file like several times, so it's pretty goofy. I mean, the alternative is that I can just use the graphic converted properly. Like, in theory. Yeah, they are just that bad. What's up, Dio? I mean, in theory, I could just use the graphic and suck it up that it has to have missing frame set directions. But ideally, I wouldn't have to do that if it wasn't at all possible. Mangler, by the way. Dude, some of these names are fucking gross. Who would name their unit Mangler? That's like naming that it's in that map that we play on Fraud Night sometimes, that CS:GO map where one of them is just called Barricader. So gross. Haha, there you go, dude. It's like angry birthday celebration. Celebration via welcome emoji. Zerg destroy. Is that a real thing? Where did I see Zerg Destroyer from? That definitely sounds correct. Stormbringer! Let's take a look at Stormbringer, dude. I'm sure this will be a high quality graphic. Just like the scanted tank. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Dude, don't remind me of that. That is mean to UED, Commander. Flying Book. You know, Protoss Vulture. Yeah, it's pretty much nothing of value over here, unfortunately. Cyber Mutalisk. Blonde Kerrigan. Very, very embarrassing. And then, of course, the first couple are just anime over here. My First Unit, GRP. Oh, shit. Open. Yeah. Yeah, this is a virus. So this was actually a 3D model that they rendered, but I don't think it's the right perspective. It looks fucked. Like, this doesn't appear to be the proper angle at all. What's your take on this one, DF? can't tell from YouTube quality. I could send this file to you, but it might contain a virus. Oh yeah, I was also looking at this. Epic. Some stuff from Veek today. Veek's birthday present for me was an overlay for my talk show that I'm going to be starting pretty soon. I can't believe they fucked that up, dude. That's so embarrassing. I wouldn't even need to do this or care at all if this wasn't so fucked up. But they actually screwed it up that bad. Oh my god. Why? Yeah, it just turns into some pieces. Nice fucking animation. What's up, 9 Eoc 3? How's it feel to be a man made of 3? All right, I can't look at that. Or that. All of that is a virus, must be purged. All right, so yeah, Lego. It's a Bionicle. All right, so let's take a look at some of the entropy gauntlets updates that HYDRA put together. So HYDRA says that spending energy to cloak should damage. And it looks like it also drains correctly, so that part is fixed as well. Okay. And then apparently a defensive matrix also works now, which is correct. Oh, interesting. He actually made it so that, at least for that particular spell, it does go off before it deals the damage. So I wonder if that's true for anything else. Like, wait. Oh yeah, it ran out of debuff time or something. Okay, it doesn't work yet for anything else, it looks like, but okay. So that does work. I will say that the updates for the engine graphics and stuff have definitely made the units feel like a little bit more reasonable too. I know they're not like as pronounced as some of the other ones. Oh, I guess in a way they kind of are. The only thing that was different is like the Wraith engine was pretty like pronounced compared to some of this other stuff, so like some of the smaller crafts, like the vassals in particular, look really tiny, right? Like, they've got the tiniest fucking engine graphics I've seen in my entire life, right? But I must thank you again, DF, for porting those over. That's pretty epic. All right, so we'll say for this commit, iquare fix overkill on cloak, no effect on cloak activation, defensive matrix. Okay, so I can get rid of that. I'm not sure about Sublime Shepherd. I guess I should check that as well. That was something similar to what it was happening with Cloak. Looks to be fixed. Although it also is not okay. I guess I should also take a look to see if iQuare did anything with medics or scanner suite, because those were the other things that were seemingly there. Okay, so that doesn't work yet, and yeah, it doesn't look like that does anything either. So still some ways to go. Thank you very much, Alexander. I would have come on a little bit earlier, but unfortunately, the initial scheduling was messed up a little bit. There's a spanner in the works. That's all right. You got me a Taw Dad in the chat. Looks like we may have made some sort of mistake somewhere down the line over here for the installation process, so I guess we should just delete all this shit. Yeah, could you imagine? So apparently, they should already have all of the files in the directories when you install from that ISO, and I did not know that, so I deleted them and re-extracted them, which was obviously a goofball move. So we'll go ahead and just reinstall this. Doesn't take any long. What? Okay, that's a very strange error. I've never seen that one before. Oh, I accidentally installed that to C drive, but whatever. The HYDRA patch, you mean? There's a pretty good chance. We should have something to show by then. The main limiting factor is like I basically need to find a point to say that I'm satisfied with whatever I'm going to be shipping with this patch, and then I just need to bite the bullet and focus on updating the AI, for the Melee AI. Okay, so anyway, don't know how I managed to start Brood War by accident. Oh yeah, it's MIP soft because I didn't customize it. So if we go to pattern, Elka. Hell yeah. It's working. I can see sort of how they would screw that up, where they would have like the... I can't really see how they would screw that up, to be honest. I don't know what the fuck they did, but it was bad. Get them out of there. All right, let's jump in here and we'll call this Uller. So out of these 144, should we guess how many will actually be possible to edit? Thanks for popping in, man. I'll see you tomorrow at some point. Ah, yes, the classic blue outline that I'm going to have to get rid of somehow. That actually shouldn't be too hard. Seems to be... That's something that I'll mess around with later on, but... Yeah. That's the fear right there. That, unfortunately... Oh, so stupid. Time to manually save all of these, baby. Though this does seem a little odd to use as a Protoss graphic anyway. I mean, I don't know what the fuck you would use it for, but it definitely seems strange. Just saying. More keyboard ASMR. I do think it's kind of stupid that Blizzard decided to just mirror the image when facing the other direction, because it does it results in really uneven lighting. So basically it forces you to be very limited with what kind of lighting you have on your various units, as far as I am concerned, which makes it pretty lame. Oh shit, it's UED Commander! Why is it taking so long to save? Hey, maybe I did get a virus from Started.net. So you're saying that if somebody calls something a really stupid name, and then you call something a really stupid name, that same really stupid name, that they are responsible and not you? Sounds like you, actually. Break the chain, bro. Ball's in your court, homie. Epic. Oh yeah, I closed all my windows. Okay, so now that we have all this shit, I guess the only prudent solution here... Oh, wait a moment. Oh wait, no, never mind. I don't think we can do that. I was trying to think of a way to automate the process of duplicating these frames in a way that wouldn't require anybody to write a program that would do it automatically. But I'm not really sure how I would have done this. Because I was initially thinking that PyGRP, I could like import all of these frames into a, like I would put these frames into a GRP and then export them in frame set mode. But I don't think I think it crashes when you try to export it in a frame set mode with a different number of offsets or something, which is pretty unfortunate. I'll test that hypothesis anyway, because it could save me a lot of time. If I open... Oh yeah, it's not paletted, but anyway. So we set it, save it in rows of 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, they're not even in the right order, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, forget about it. It's not that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and do the old... where's the new convert or whatever? New init. Euler. All right. What's up, Flurry Fox? Yeah, YouTube algorithm is a little weird. Is the point of this to remake StarCraft 1, but then without Blizzard? So, it's not really the point isn't to remake StarCraft 1. It's Project HYDRA started out as a mod where I was just going to add a couple of new units and try to improve the game state and then also remake the original campaigns so that there would be an updated version, like a higher quality gameplay experience. So it was mostly because like I didn't want to have to trying to figure out how to explain this in the shortest possible amount of time that while still retaining the point and still being a useful explanation. So when I sit down to work on a project, I really want to make sure that the project is high quality in all of the aspects that it has. So that would include story, if there was a story to the project. And using the excuse of remaking the existing campaigns was a really easy way for me to say, I'm not even going to bother worrying about story, and I'm just going to focus on gameplay. Because I wanted to really push myself to learn how to make the best RTS gameplay experience possible within single player or two-player co-op content. And that's where HYDRA came into play, because it's a remake of the original game in terms of the campaigns. But it's the name HYDRA is like obviously a multi-headed beast in mythology, in Greek mythology, I think. So the idea there was that, oh, we'll have like multi heads. Oh, you got 2 players, so you can play up to 2-player co-op basically. That was like the sort of etymology of the name. And because I was focusing on that for a while, you know, I wanted to really push myself to learn, and it was something that just happens as you do that. Like by the time you finish the last map in a campaign, you look back at the first map and you're like, wow, I could have done that one a lot better, and you want to go back and like iterate on it and continue to improve it. And that's something that's just continued to happen in HYDRA's life cycle. Okay, that might actually be useful, DF. I might have to look into that. So anyway, the point of HYDRA initially was just to remake the campaigns. The problem is that the StarCraft 1 engine is really limited. So not only was I limited in terms of like the kind of units that I could have implemented or the kind of behaviors I could have or anything like that, on a more like mod or game state level, I was limited. I was still able to do a lot of really cool stuff. And one of the things that really sort of killed the project in a sense, or killed some of my hype and motivation to continue working on it, is you can't really have a large amount of units on screen. Like you can't have more than 1,700 units in game at any time. Obviously, the remaster doubles this limit, but that's still pretty low. Like I'm hoping for like the main approach for HYDRA was like remove the supply cap, so you're no longer limited to 200 max supply. You're no longer limited at all in max supply. Have giant maps. Have like 8 players. Obviously, is the maximum number of players that you can have. And the whole goal was that like for some of those later levels in the original campaign, like the mission where you assault the Overmind or something, for there to be like in giant fights with AI that would build like thousands of units and throw them at you, and like crazy numbers all over the place. I really wanted to achieve a sense of scale that nobody has ever seen in the Starcraft community, simply because for one, the engine doesn't support it, but for another, because nobody really had the aspirations to make it in the same way that I did. So yeah, like a lot of the main goals that I had going into the project were not possible with the engine without a lot of edits. And we've made a lot of changes to the engine to make more things possible. But unfortunately, there's only so much you can put up with because we don't have source code access. Blizzard never released it and doesn't seem like they will, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would follow suit with after EA released the source code access or promised to, I don't know if they have already, but they've promised to release the source code access for Command and Conquer 1 for their remaster. And that's how you actually get a remaster. Like, spoiler alert, the companies probably aren't going to put out a quality product. It's probably a cash grab. But if you open up the source access to modders who actually do care about the quality of their work, they will do something really great with that. Or at least there's the potential to. So I would really like to see something like that. But unfortunately, Blizzard's not going to do that. Pretty safe bet. So essentially, ultimately there was that was a main limiting factor anyway. So. Art changes and game mechanic changes, yeah. So I mean, I can show you. Unfortunately, because I'm doing multiple things here, my auto hotkey script lagged. But I can show you a little bit of what we got here. So we got all sorts of new units. I want to say that there's 30 or 35 units per race now, or something like that. Compared to, I think there was only I think there was double digits, obviously, but there are way more now. There's a bunch more that aren't even here yet. But we have all sorts of graphics. It's kind of a hodgepodge mess in terms of where the graphics came from, because I'm not making these graphics myself. I'm pulling them from other sources, like other games. So unfortunately, they don't all have the same level of quality associated with them. But at the same time, there's quite a bit of depth to the tech trees now. So yeah, you've got all sorts of stuff. I've completely changed how a lot of the races operate. So I've further incentivized add-on play for Terrans. I've made it so that their production structures are actually smaller. So as you can see, the factory is one tile smaller. So all of the production structures, like barracks, factory, starport, are smaller. I've made it so that you can access tech structures from the beginning of the game, like a spawning pool, spire, and HYDRA all only require a hatchery now. So you don't even have to worry about building the spawning pool first. It adds a little bit of tactical diversity that you can have at the beginning. So you can have somebody who goes starport first or robotics facility first or something like that. So I've really pushed it with the idea that I'm balancing around the team games instead of 1v1s, because Starcraft is already a pretty good 1v1 game. It's the best RTS game for 1v1s. So I wanted to push it in a bit of a different direction, where I'm allowing teams of players to rush certain tech compositions or something like that, and make the play a little bit more interesting. It's not really going to be a separate client as much as it still is operating on an older version of the game from before the remaster. So you don't have to run it through Battle.net or anything, and you will have to use we use a VPN to create a local area network so that we can play multiplayer games. So you could also use iCup if you wanted to, but with the VPN you don't have to worry about forwarding your ports for hosting or anything. It takes care of that for you, so it's a little bit simpler. But it still is third-party software, which understandably is kind of annoying for some people to deal with. But yeah, ultimately, it's the main deal is that it's meant to be another look, an honest attempt to really make a better RTS game than what Brood War is, because I feel like there's been so few of those. If you agree with the idea that Brood War is the best RTS, and some people do, some people don't. Some people might say Age of Empires 2 or something. But for my money, it's the best RTS. And it's not like it doesn't have problems. It's not like it couldn't be better. It's just that if they gave it an honest attempt, they failed. And I would say Armies of Exego, which is kind of a lesser known RTS game, was a game that tried to be a better, they had aspirations to make a better game than Brood War. It's just that they didn't succeed. But at least you could tell that they tried to make something good at the very least, right? And that's the thing is I want to make something that is actually successful at dethroning it. I feel like it's a glass ceiling where the only reason why StarCraft 1 has not been succeeded as with a better RTS game somewhere, the only reason that hasn't happened yet is because there's not been a real attempt by competent people to do it. Always been a custom game guy, but too bad at RTS to be able to blame it on the game. Yeah. Well, that's funny that you say that. It's like I'm always interested in how people like how the because the RTS genre is not really alive in the same way as it used to be. Like you got Brood Wars competitive scene or whatever, but like I'm always interested in what people have to say for that sort of thing because like for my money, I was bad at this game for a long time and I'm still not great. Like I got better because I wanted to get better so that I could like make harder levels and stuff. But one of the things that always struck me is that campaigns were either really easy because the AI did nothing or they were like bullshit because the AI started out with a large amount of pre-placed units or they had like a lot of money at the beginning of the game or they started out with upgrades or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just unfair stuff, right? Like Warcraft 3 was really bad for that. All of the campaigns had like horrible. If you played on hard, it was basically just like they get more money, more units, and more upgrades, and you've got to like slog through them more. Basically, it's like just grinding instead of actually having to play well necessarily. You've just got to play like super defensively or something like that. So what I wanted to do is like in all of the campaign maps that I've been putting together, you start out with this similar starting conditions to melee, like 6 workers instead of 4, but it's like a similar to melee, and the AI does too, and the AI builds up just like you do. At least in the early levels, that's how it is. And maybe there would be some cases where like the first Protoss mission has one player on each team starting out with a more pre-established base because the idea is that they were fighting beforehand, and you're arriving to help your ally, and then there are other Zerg fighting to help their ally. And it's so that's the setting basically is like you're starting in the middle of somebody else's match almost. And aside from cases like that where it makes sense for there to be some pre-play stuff and they almost cancel each other out in that sense, there's not really cases where there's unfair advantages for the enemy and they still lose because of it. It's like if you've ever played a campaign mission where the AI has a million things pre-placed for it, but it doesn't just attack you with all of them at the beginning of the game, to some extent that does ruin the immersion because what kind of incompetent military commander would not use all of the units that they have at their disposal to attack you? Like if there's no reason for them to fear any reprisal, or like if they're not surrounded by small groups of enemies that are insignificant individually but together could threaten them, then there's not really a reason for them to hold back, but they do it anyway because otherwise there would be no hope, or it wouldn't be like, there would be no way that the player could win. And that's where it's like it's less about immersion and more about like mechanics, you know what I mean? And if players are thinking about that when it comes to story, it does like disrupt the whole point of the level or whatever. So I do think that when it comes to like being bad at RTS games, one of the problems is that you're never really pushed to be better. Like the way that you beat campaign missions or whatever is usually like cheesy stuff or stuff that wouldn't really work in a more like a 1v1 against a melee AI or a 1v1 against a real player. But also because like there's not really any good tutorial. I think Age of Empires 2, I've been told, has a really good tutorial system because they have like a really competent AI ally that plays the game next to you and they're like building their economy. And so you're almost able to like see what a competent player would do and you can kind of copy them and like try to understand why they do certain things. Whereas like that sounds like something that I would want to do too. Like maybe the first mission in the tutorial campaign would be some like grizzled veteran army commander at being your leader, and like you get to follow him into a 1v1 or something, and like you're situated behind him so you're kind of protected, and you get to like watch him as he does stuff, and maybe he like has some dialogue that makes sense for his character to say, like you're slow, you're being too slow here, rookie, like I want you to build more Marines or something, you know what I mean? Like he could have some dialogue where it makes sense for him, but it still reinforces what you're supposed to do in a way that's like, maybe it is kind of hitting you over the head with it, but it's still like a way for you to tie it into the story instead of it being some tooltip that says like build 4 Marines, you know what I mean? Like that's just dumb. So yeah, it does rework the AI. So like even in Melee, the AI is much different now. Like if you go back in the Fraud Nights playlist, some of the videos from like months ago are that's our game night that we do every Saturday, and some of them were a little bit more recently. We were just playing Counter-Strike, but before that, we were playing HYDRA, and we were almost always losing to the AI because we're all bad. But then we can play like PvP games as well and just laugh at each other. So. But but yeah. Now you know what it's all about, man. So once I'm done over here, we've got to fix this man. He's too blue for my liking. But first, I'm gonna have to make a bunch of copies of him. Oh, of course, and he's backwards question mark. How am I ever supposed to, like, name his files or whatever? What a ridiculous man. Yeah, so this graphic is from I think it's 1999 or 2000, but there was an RTS game from Korea called Armageddon, and somebody also already used this graphic at some point, and they recolored it to look like Protoss infantry, which is what I'm going to do too. But their version of it was not properly processed, so I'm basically redoing what they did so that it's better. It makes more sense because they were like missing some frames, and so the unit was looking like it was facing the wrong angle or something when it was supposed to be facing a different one. So basically, I'm just like redoing it so that that error is no longer there. So get ready for some keyboard ASMR. I can't promise it's going to be the most exciting thing you've ever seen in your life. But, you know, modding is sometimes a tedious act. Basically, I just have to rename these files to be the index number of whatever Starcraft needs them to be internally. And then I have to make a copy and rename that one to the next index because that's just how Starcraft works, more or less. What did I miss here? Oh yeah, those are actually the first frame in the 4 section. Exactly. All right, man. See you around. Have a good night. It's always nice to get an opportunity to explain everything again, because some of you guys in the chat or wherever, or maybe you guys are new as well and you just didn't say anything. You didn't pipe up and express your confusion as to what this hairy man on screen is doing, and now you know. This strange, polite man. Shout out to whoever that guy was. Uh-oh. Did I miss something? Uh-oh, no. Wasn't paying enough attention. Aha, that was supposed to be 89? Okay, so 0246. At least that wasn't too bad. Where'd my copy go? What's up, Connor? Thank you for the wishes. Hope you've been well. Did I already do 74? Doesn't help that this guy is doing some weird jig in his walking animation. It makes it very difficult to figure out what I'm supposed to be looking at here. Of course, yeah. I've been busy with another channel now, interviewing people from the Counter-Strike scene, which has been a trip. So that's been what I've been getting up to lately when I'm not doing this. But the streak is still going. We're on track to hit our 1-year anniversary of mod streams, which is pretty insane. Never would have thought that that would have been possible a year ago. But that'll be on the 3rd of November, the 1-year anniversary. So I'm buckled in for that. This is 12. Oh, man. All right, almost done with this first set. There's actually like 3 sets to this because, of course, there's 3. There's like the walk, attack, and I guess there's an idle or fidget animation or something. I don't remember seeing the fidget one, so I guess that must have been ignored by the Koreans when they ripped this stuff. Okay. I have not done with like the journalist DK. I actually did reach out to him. I got I can take a break from what I'm doing to shill for my other channel real quick. Hold on. So I did one with Davey, then Maui Snake, then Dust, Adam Fitch, Vu, Haka, Thorin, Launders. The Thorin one's obviously the biggest name here, but Vu is pretty big too, I think. And obviously Launders has been popping off lately. Haka too. So yeah, I'm amazed how easy some of these people were to get on the interviews. Like I was amazed that I got Thorin to respond, for example. Like especially since I had at the time I think I had like 16 or 20 subscribers or something. Like nothing on this channel at all. I feel like when he agreed to do that one. So he was I sold him on the premise of the show, We talked about like the coaching scandal was obviously the big one. But as surreal as that was, I feel like I feel pretty proud about a lot of these interviews just because like I feel like they add something to the conversation in a way that it does stuff a little bit differently. You know what I mean? Like if I feel like for one, you don't really get a lot of opportunities to interview these people. For one, you like not too many people do interviews generally. So I thought that it was nice for me to be like able to just ask questions that maybe some people didn't think about. But yeah, yeah. If you only pick one of them to watch and you're at all interested in the coaching scandal, I would pick the Thorin one. Like, there's a lot to unpack in that particular example. So what am I doing? 102, I think, is my next one. I really should have renamed this file before I... Yeah. In the future, I do want to branch out to other games as well. Like, I would actually love to do some stuff with like actually exploring StarCraft stuff. But I guess the main issue that I can come up with there is, or that I would worry about there is, wait, how many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so this one was off. But yeah, one of the bigger issues that I would imagine is that there's really not a whole lot of people to interview. Like, if you could get like Tasteless or Artosis or something, and then maybe some of the other like lower tier casters as well, that would be one thing. But there's really not too many people to ask questions to in that sense. Whereas it's like you almost always see the same people doing the rounds. So I would probably have to dig a little deeper and do some more research on who's even active in the scene in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably keep riding the CS:GO side of things for the time being, but it will be something that will be that I'll be looking to expand into other games anyway. I guess there's no actual like muzzle flash animation. I'm gonna have to implement that one myself, I suppose. Speaking of higher tier players, can you believe Flash decided to go random? I heard he's been placing pretty well anyway, though. Like, knocked out some high profile players. I haven't seen the results of the latest tournament that's been going on, but it's been pretty pretty crazy. Yeah, that's the main problem, is that I can't speak Korean. All right, this is the hey. For sure, I'd love to have Nyokin on, though, because he's obviously done all sorts of stuff. He's been doing playing, commentating. Yeah, it's been a real. I mean, there's not really that much to follow, is the problem. Like, over in Counter-Strike, there's a new tournament pretty much every fucking day, it feels like, which is a little excessive, if I'm honest, but. You know, I guess you got to decide if you have to pick between everything or nothing. Most people are gonna go for something. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, and any interview like that would be like, I would call that like the luxury interview. It's sort of like, oh wait, how deep are we going here? Okay, this is where we stop. Then we start at 174, I think. But it's like, you're not going to get a huge amount of hits on it, so it's not really going to be like, it won't be for the finances. That's not why you're doing it, right? You're doing it because that's like something that's of personal interest to the interviewer, which I'm fine with, because like that's all of them right now. I'm not making any money off of it, but. Oop, we're going back to 176. Yeah, if you have like I know what you mean there. Prime enabled pre-made, avoid cheaters and all that shit. Get some team prac, some synergy. Oop, I went too far with one of these. 7, 8. Just want to make sure it was the right break point there. Home stretch now. Can't be much longer until we get this guy in here and get rid of his stupid outline, his stupid green random pixels, and give him a nice yellow coloring and call him done. Okay, now of course. Hey, if you feel like it. I don't know how much crossover there is between the community of hardcore Brood War fans and hardcore everything else fans, but sure there will be some people might be interested. I think just like that, that's all we really needed to do here. That way there's still a little bit of shading. And it doesn't lose definition or anything, but... So now we'll go ahead and separate this out. All right. We obviously need to separate any of the team color pixels so that we don't accidentally get those. It seems like maybe the red pixels were actually supposed to be team color, but were not converted correctly. Like, just an idea anyway. But it's hard to like be definitive about that, obviously. It does feel like that might be the case, though. It's from an Armageddon. So it's called Armageddon. It's a RTS from Korea from, I think, 2000. I don't actually... I think it's actually supposed to be a human. I don't know what the fuck the background, like the spikes on his back are. But if you recolor it, it apparently pulls off a convincing Protoss infantry, so... All right. Well, I feel like that might be a fine gradient map to do, but it's hard to say for sure. Coffee for Mpong. Thanks, dude. Welcome aboard. All right, so we'll do folder, mask. So that'll fix any potential issues with the way that the, like, if there's a mismatch between the pixels that are used in one game or another. That should fix that. And then the gradient map for the rest. Oh yeah, we got to attach it specifically to this. Might need to be a generic remap instead, though. Or I might have to just select all blue pixels or something. I think generally that probably looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and save this. And we can index it. Yeah, I thought we might have a problem there. That also seems like we have a problem. Oh, never mind. That's just a... Hold on. I think I know why that happened, actually. Yeah. The fuck? Hold on. Dude, apparently we missed something over here. And I don't know what it was, but it's pretty goofy. I don't know about that one, man. Okay, well. Alright. Aside from fixing that, now we just have to, like... I think we just have to do a regular merge, don't we? Maybe we can do this. I don't know if that will actually do it. Without creating all of those issues that we were just seeing. No, looks like we have the same problem now. Maybe that's actually supposed to be that way. Okay, yeah, it looks like it was correct that time anyway. So now we can go ahead and close this. Oops, don't do that. Yeah, that would be my guess as well, since what I did was mass replace them, but I didn't even look at it. I guess I can just double check that by finding whatever that was. I don't know. It's not really that important. Okay. I saw a stray pixel over there. I think I did anyway. Was I hallucinating? I guess so. I could have sworn there was a stray over there. Maybe that was just like a mark on my screen. All right, see you later, Connor. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. All right, so before I go any further with that one, I am going to take a BRB. So BRB. All right, I'm back. Let's slap our new Ecclesiast graphic into the game and see how it looks like. First, I need to re-import it into here. Well, I guess I don't really need that, do I? How many frames are there in here? 272. I have to re-index this. I almost forgot I've got to make a shadow graphic. Shouldn't take long. Of course, it's a casual 272 frames of a graphic, so we're going to be here a while waiting for that. We may as well jump off to the graphic here and find it in this list and make its I script a reality. Make it more like a U script. Oh, does it actually end at FF? Or what? Ooh. You. All right, so ground attack to idle is... Eight, 7, 6. So we have I guess that's it. Okay. So we know we're looking at, what was it again? 6, 7, 8, 9. I feel like that should be fine. Okay, should be good there. We should also be able to more or less just jump into here. I'm gonna have to jump in here and actually put this graphic over in this area. And then I guess I'll just pop this open. And over in its flingy for Ecclesiast, I have to set its movement type to 2. Other than that, I don't think there's really anything to worry about per se. Maybe I'll close this stuff now. Obviously, we're going to need to find a wireframe for it. Hopefully, June 3young's already done a competent one. It does seem to have that weird, like, color aliasing, jostling effect where, like, there's some stray pixels or whatever that kind of fuck around with it, but its walk cycle appears to be fucked. Like, one frame is popping in and out of existence. There's also one frame over here that's off center. Oh yeah. What the fuck? Like some of these are fine, but there's a few. That's really annoying. Why does it go back to his idle? That is a mistake right there. I'm not sure why there would be a... Dude, he's got a fucking goofy walk cycle, that's for sure. You believe this shit? Yeah. I thought for sure something was wrong with him, but it doesn't appear to be the case. He's just goofy. But yeah, his go-to repeat attack must be fucked somewhere. Actually, I don't know why. If he's still attacking, why would there be... Like, why would he have a call to go there? Should it be ignore rest or something? There's that opcode sometimes. Well, that's disappointing. Disappointing first outing. Let's see what we can do about that, huh? Maybe just fixing that attack animation will be step one. I really don't know what to do about the walking animation, though. It does look... Doesn't it look like he's just snapping back into one of his things? So maybe for repeat, we could have him do something like... Something like that might help. But yeah, when he's walking, it looks really fucked up. Oh, I see. Maybe I think I misplaced my moves or something. All right, we'll try that. No, that just resulted in him spazzing. What the fuck? It's almost like we were missing a frame in the animation, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah, it appears that 0 times 5 is the last in the walk cycle. I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder why that would cause any issues. Oh, the walking to... No, never mind. Why would walking to idle even be called? That wouldn't make any sense anyway. But it does look like he's snapping back to one of his other ones, so I don't know. Yeah. I actually unironically always called things local 69 and when I was using PyIce because it would automatically change them to the appropriate sorted numbers or whatever, like 1, 2, 3. But now it actually uses whatever I write because I'm using plain text, so can't use that trick anymore. I can't see anything immediately off about this. Like it's all spaced out the same way. So. Oh, there is an excess weight 1 over here. I see. I'll just copy this one that I know works, and we will go from there, I think. Just delete these. What? If it ends on... Okay. Let's try that, I guess. PyIce does hurt me as well. About as much as PyAI, you know, they're both pretty bad in that respect. That is gross too, though, because that has corruption and shit. So I would stay far away from that one. Whoa, wow, case sensitive commands, by the way. No, it's still fucked. Dude, how? How is this graphic such a shit show? Okay. We fixed it now. It just didn't properly import before. Also, the shadow is not really aligned there in some cases. Like, when he's walking like that, you can see that the shadow is a couple pixels too high. Still pretty goofy, but... What the fuck? Now it's not playing that anymore. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So we're having issues with it actually... Yeah, I'm not really sure why there would be a problem there. They're even configured correctly over here, so I'm not really sure. So he plays like he pulls his gun out, right, or whatever. He like readies his arm blaster. So he does that fine, and then he fires off a shot, plays the sound that you guys can't hear, but I can hear it. But it's almost as if there is no 9-9 for some reason. I don't know why. Let me take a look at that again. But you see how it played it correctly once, but now it just is stuck on the halfway drawn animation. It's stuck on 88. It doesn't go back to 99 for some reason. I don't know why. See what else I got in here. Haven't listened to this mix in a while. Put that on. So we've sort of fixed the... I don't know. We've sort of fixed that, but I'm really confused as to... Maybe we need a longer wait or something after then, or before the no break code end or something like that. I don't know. He still looks really stupid when he's walking at like the up right or up left angle. He looks like he's skipping a step, like he's jerking forward for no reason. That really adds to the cartoonness. Something definitely feels really off about this whole ordeal. Like I'm missing some really specific issue. But it has everything for iScript, so yeah, I don't know. That is odd. That is Todd. It's a real long shot, but yeah, I don't think this would make any sense at all, but we'll try that. It's pretty much the same shit over here. It looks almost like we're missing, like, either we're missing one frame of the walk cycle. I mean, it doesn't look nearly as fucked as it does in this case. Like, if we remove these, right, and we just play this back to back. Oh, okay. It does. That is where the fuck is. So what if we just delete that? If we just delete the call for 0, 0. Let's compare that. That might help. No, then he's skipping even more. Although it doesn't really seem to have changed this. There is a noticeable gap, but I'm just so perplexed as to... Maybe it's like a centering issue or something, but I don't know. That seems really weird. There's really no, unfortunately, nothing close to it, I feel like. Like, if we go and look at the, Let's humor these guys for a second and take a look at them. Obviously, this means we'll have to rewrite the I script. Okay. The other thing is that we are going to need to redo the... Well, I'll have to just redo the... shadow here. So I'll just use their junk one for now, and then I'll update it later. Oops, that's not what I wanted to start up. Nice shadow, by the way. Wait, maybe that shadow offset was me? No, they just have a terrible shadow, apparently. Okay. I guess that looks okay. Their graphic appears to have been, like, color fucked. Oh yeah, it will eventually be. The weapon is not actually fully implemented. But especially since that one has a muzzle flash that was added, it makes more sense for it to be hit scan. Well, we'll close that for now, and I am going to have to redo the shadow, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. I'm glad Bear Blower is an action in... Did I put it in the wrong folder or something? Where did this go? Oh, wow. Yeah, not quite where I intended it to go. Intended for it to go. English. Well, if we can get this taken care of to some extent. Oh yeah, actually, let me see if I can take a look here. It does seem like it's a little out of whack there in terms of, like, I hit it when it had 70 energy there. I don't remember the shield count though. Okay. Well, that's something anyway. Yeah, I forgot that button hasn't been implemented yet. Yeah, that doesn't spend the energy properly. I'm really looking forward to when the new engine is somewhat operational and I can start to test out some ideas for what I have in mind for the UI and stuff. Like, I was talking with Veek about this a couple months ago, but the idea of like having a limitation on the number of units you can select, I feel like is just straight up it's a misplaced way to like balance the game basically. Because even if you have the ability to control a huge number of units, in order to actually micro effectively, you still need to select probably less than 12 units or 12 or less units, you know? So good players will still behave like they have that selection limit in most cases of actual micro, and but at least it's not the UI actually limiting them, which is the key thing. It's the UI is just facilitating gameplay, which is what it should do. It's not automating anything, and it's not really limiting anything either. And that's what I think is going to be really, really good about it, because I think limiting stuff like that is just never the right move. Yeah, for sure. Like, you're not going to have something like in Red Alert 2 or Starcraft 2 where you just push a button and it selects everything on the map. Because that does automate finding your units, adding them to a control group, and then recalling that control group, right? That's the distinction that I draw, is when there's an action that is automated. You know what I mean? Like, technically, if you have to you have to classify certain actions as like worth taking, and actions that basically are skillful or demonstrate understanding of pacing and some sort of expression of skill, even if it's not like mechanical skill, but it's strategic skill, like adding certain units to control groups over others. Like that's what would be what I would want to preserve, and what I don't think the user interface should ever automate. Right? So selecting your units is something that you should have to do in the game. So automating the process of finding every unit on the map is stupid. It lowers the skill floor in a really stupid way. Whereas if you look at something like Smart Rally as well, so that you're changing orders based on the, like, basically making it so that when your rally point behaves like a right click order, that's automating the whole process as well. So, like, to that extent, right clicking onto like rally right click or whatever. So when a unit pops out, their rally point should be fixed to the ground, even if you right click on a unit. I don't think you should automatically have units that follow other units. I understand that that's like a convenience that was even present in Brood War. So people might feel like it's controversial to remove that and make that interface in quote unquote more limited. But that's automating the action of selecting the unit and right clicking it onto another unit, which, I think that's something that you should have to do. Just like I think it's something you should have to right click your worker in the same way. So that's less about like that's more of a mechanical skill, because it is a mechanical action that could in theory be automated away. But it still separates the men from the boys when it comes to this sort of thing. And especially considering you're going to have like an unlimited number of control groups and building selection and camera hotkeys. I mean, not unlimited, but less limited than Brood War. Like, you'll have the whole function row will be reserved for camera hotkeys, basically F1 through F12. So you can actually do that. And so in that case, it's not really as nearly as much of a pain in the ass to not have Smart Rally. because you just get used to using camera hotkeys, and you can recall the position of every single base that you have, probably. Yeah. Well, the other thing is making it so that the spacebar logs the last like 10 events or something. I think that's something valuable as well. Like that's something that I haven't seen in too many games. Obviously, StarCraft 2 does that, and I don't know how many it actually saves, but preserving that I think that makes sense. You know, that's something that should be in there. Did I already do this? I think so. Yeah, that's the one. All right. I'm glad my Visual Studio installation is in Polish or something. Apparently, according to the context menus. No, it only saves the last one. Well, I'll do it like this, right? So we'll make an SCV. Spacebar obviously moves me to that. Then we'll make a Paladin, I guess, because I hit A instead of V for Vulture. And then that centers me on the factory, but it only will center me on one. Now it doesn't go back to the command center. Unfortunately, that's the way that it is. I think that it should have it, but I want to make the Centaur's selection circle a little bit bigger here. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Maybe it should be 5 instead. A little bit smaller, but I don't know. That's probably a fine balance. Maybe I'll raise the image pause, actually. Oh yeah, and obviously this guy's image pause has to go down so that I can actually see what's going on here. So yeah, another thing that's still bugging me about the Ecclesiast attack is that it's only playing like the last one for some reason, so maybe I have to do something like this for it to work properly. That was a really stupid way for me to explain it, but basically, so like it'll play the animation the first time through, and then if I don't stop it, like now it works, so I guess that was the issue. But basically it would only play it once, yeah. Oh yeah, my 2 idle is fucked. So it should be 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty good compared to what it was anyway. Got to be careful when typing this unit, by the way, because if you just do ECC, the debug plugin assumes that you're trying to do a hex thing and crashes the game. So that's pretty good. I guess the circle should probably be like 1 or 2. All right. I guess I might as well also jump into unit stat and weapon stat. $79. I guess if we're gonna have something like that, where in terms of the size of the selection circle, it probably needs to go back up. Image pause wise. It still looks really fucked up animation. I don't know what to do about that. There's nothing to do. Nothing I can do, I feel like. All right, so I think we can commit the changes here and say update ecclesiast graphic and weapon. The fuck? The fuck? What is this? The buildings are Not rendered in the right angle at all. That's unfortunate. Oh. What the fuck? Yeah, this is a fucking weird game. Look at this man. I guess that's... No, I don't think so. That's probably not the right angle either. That's like too far up, unfortunately. That really sucks because we could definitely use some more graphics. Dude, who's this guy? Looks like he's lugging around a flamethrower or something. Of course, even the aircraft are fucked. That sucks. And he said something about effects being potentially useful. What the fuck? Oh shit, dude, it's Zerg Liftoff. Dude, that looks fucking ugly. That is gross, dude. Don't show me that. I don't even know. That might have been illegal to show on stream. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. Another illegal thing. Ooh. Mmm. Nah. What the fuck? Oh. it's a spinner, boys. Dude, what the fuck? Some of these graphics wouldn't even make sense in a fucking comedy project. But, you know. That one almost looks believable, but not quite. See if we can find any more, anything. Graphics-wise. Voice said to look out for the effects. I guess the, apparently this... What the fuck? Apparently this game is supposed to take place inside somebody's body or something. Mm. Reasonable. Dude, some of these look exactly like Starcraft graphics or effects, but they're not at multiple frames. Weird. Multiple angles, I mean. Yeah, those are from Vital Device. What's up, Nino? Appreciate the kind words. I've got a few bangers lined up for later this week. I took a day off today because it's my birthday. and I'll be back at it tomorrow, and I got at least one more map making one to do this week, and probably one or two more general interviews planned. But other than that, I am going to be starting a regular, like a weekly talk show, and I'm going to be trying to make that like at least once a week. Just looking to confirm a co-host for it so that we can do that a little bit more without it just being me. I'm looking for content that I can be sort of independent with, because at some point you might just get a period of time where you get no for an answer for a couple interviews, or silence or something like that, right? And you kind of like in between guests or whatever, and you need to be able to fall back on some kind of content. So I'm still trying to build my like some sort of rapport with the community, make people think, oh, maybe this guy does know what he's talking about, before I start making like Thorin's Thought style content or whatever. But we'll get there eventually. Appreciate it. Yeah, War in a Human's Body. Yeah, that fucking RTS game, man. It's really confusing, but that might have to be a game that I play at some point. I'm not sure if there's an English version circulating. I wonder what these are supposed to be. This almost looks like shields or something, but I'm not sure. I did. Thank you very much. And of course, if you have any feedback or criticism, things where you think I could do better, happy to entertain those. You can drop those in one of the comments or whatever. And otherwise, just stay tuned. We got more coming. Coming up in the last couple minutes of this stream here, unfortunately, as I am... Well, it's not so unfortunate. We got some work done. Finally figured out what to do about these Armageddon graphics thanks to Voyager's help. And now we're diving through some of these other ones. Not so sure these will be any use, but maybe some of the effects will actually be. That's kind of cool. Yeah, maybe we just found one. I don't know if this... See, the thing is, like, I would really hope that we could have one that's, like, already pre-built, has, like, small, medium, and large overlays. But that might actually be the observance overlay for the science vessel ability. Already made Ecclesius wireframe? Yeah, I figured there must have been one from you somewhere on the internet. Oh yeah, thanks. You have a link. See, you're on top of things. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, it's gonna warn me because virus time. It thinks Stardate is a virus, and I I understand why. That's so goofy. It's a virus, and we need vital device to cleanse it. All right, what unit ID are we again? 79 or something for this? Yeah, 79. They are harmful programs. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Mucho queso. I'm trying to remember what I was doing. Get out of here. Oh yeah, I never finished redoing the ice tile set stuff. I got so angry after that one stream where I got destroyed by not saving the program or not saving the brush palette and getting angry about that. I just haven't been back there. Can you blame me? Oh wait, I actually have to add it, of course. Close this down. So let's see where we're at here. That was embarrassing. Apparently it didn't maximize Starcraft or something. Okay. So for the Protoss side of things, we got the gateway having 7 units now. I was thinking moving the terminus out would probably not be a bad thing. The other problem is like maybe the Ecclesiast should require the Grand Library instead of the Citadel of Adun. Like the Amaranth currently requires the Grand Library, but maybe it makes more sense for the Amaranth to do that because it's like a tier 3 skirmisher or a tier 2 skirmisher or whatever. And then the Ecclesiast can require the Grand Library. But I don't know. Maybe the Ecclesiast is like a general unit that requires either Citadel of Adun or Blazing Effigy. I think maybe I could get behind that a little bit more. That might actually be better. So it's like you can... It's like an incidental unit that you get if you spec into a tier 3 or tier 2 of some other branch. Maybe that makes more sense. So we'll say Citadel of Adun or must have... what's the other one? Blazing Effigy. And then it's right here. I just misspelled it horribly. Okay. Okay, and then we just need, obviously, we need to go in and change all of the strings again. XD. So Amaranth requires Citadel of Dune. Ecclesiast requires Horror, Blazing Effigy. And we can also extend that to the Gladius as well. So instead of requiring the Argosy, we can say Celestial Shrine or Cosmic Altar, I think is the other equivalent. If I go and look at the Stellar Protoss structures. Yeah. And then I just need to go into Gladius. So you kind of get these like utilitarian units that are not specifically like one or the other, basically. Blazing Effigy sounds Metzen. Well, the problem is it's for the Hierophant, hence Blazing. I'm surprised nobody caught on to that one. So we'll save that. I'm trying to think of what else is there. Yeah, glad that convinced you. I will probably think of a better name at some point, but yeah, that's true. It wouldn't even be Effigy. It would be like Void Tower or something stupid. Effigy is too epic. Void Blazer. I mean, I can see why it sounds Metzen anyway, because it's like blazing is action verb or whatever, right? We'll call it Effigy of Taldarin, which is fan fiction, so it's still Metzen. But it's at least not that fucking. It's not an action verb, which is what counts. Well, Taldarin is a character that's in the lore or something, and he's like one of the first dragoons. There was an old upgrade called Taldarin's Grace that gave you +2 shield armor for striders, or +1 or something like that. But yeah, maybe there was a floating apostrophe in the middle of there, like Tal apostrophe Darin or something. It could have been possible. I just omitted it from memory. But anyway, yeah, it's not that important here. Oh yeah, let's move the let's move the terminus out of here. Grand library. Okay. Yeah, okay, there you go. So he's ancient. What's up, Balethal? I guess unmatched Strider is a little unimaginative there. See, my instinct for this unit was to call it like an interminable Strider, but yeah, it is my birthday today. But that's not really a good way to... Trying to think of a term that makes sense for like... I'm thinking of like some term that describes gaining incremental advantages as time goes on. Like adaptable is the closest thing that I can come up with, but that doesn't really make sense. The reason why I'm thinking about that is because the Terminus has this this passive where it gets increased range for every tier of weapon upgrade that you get. And so the idea is like as the game goes on, they'll be more powerful, but I'm not really sure. Or maybe it was attack speed. I honestly don't remember. I think it was attack speed. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, so far today has been pretty good. And I even managed to get some work done on the Protoss. I'm trying to like crack that nut because like the big problem right now is that we don't really have a large amount of units to like fall back on or whatever. I think the main issue is that like trying to balance the gateway versus the grand library, which is another production structure for the Templar branch now. And I wanted to like figure out what units should be coming out of like which thing basically. So yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting, but no, those subunits are still there. I got rid of the subunits on the Hero Tank and Hero Goliath and replaced them with new units, but that's just because I'm not using the heroes, right? So I don't need them. Yeah, probably like the Allen Shezer Goliath turret or something. Terminus. The other thing that I should figure out is actually the Terminus's graphic, because I'm not really pleased with how the existing one has gone. And like the other problem is that really the only graphic it's not that like the Hierophant graphic is the best graphic that we have for something like a Terminus, I feel like. But at the same time, it's like there's so much shit here. Like you've got this graphic, right? And it's whatever. It has this turret that I was going to use, but the problem is that in this one angle, the muzzle flash animation just has this random, like they forgot to mask out something, like they didn't put it to the top floor of like the top layer, so there's just this giant hole in it. and it's super distracting, and I can't stand it. So what might have to happen is like maybe there has to be no muzzle flash at all, but I don't even know how that would be like accomplished, how I would even remove it. I mean, I guess it should be possible generally to remove it. It would be kind of annoying. Like remove it entirely and replace it with some blue one anyway. But that's just a giant fucking, as Lollerskate says in the chat, it's a giant prank. And even if it were, like, it's not really that comparable. Like, I don't look at that and think, oh yeah, that's a Protoss turret, you know? I mean, I have the unit IDs necessary to create a new turret and a new, like, base unit or whatever, but it just feels so weird to have that a unit like that for Protoss. It doesn't seem right. To me, anyway. So I don't know about that one. But obviously there's like nothing else that I could use, right? The only other thing that is remotely comparable is if we go into this DLDB, this forbidden place where everything is a virus, and we go towards the back end here, and we just jump back a couple from away from the anime. There's some graphic that has made the rounds. I'm sure I can find it eventually if I go back far enough. It's this immortal graphic. And, like, I guess you could use that. This file contains a virus. But it's... I mean, for one, it's supposed to be an immortal, which is gross. Like... And it looks really fucking bad in motion. I mean, come the fuck on. But I might have to anyway, even though, like, I want something that's really big by comparison to what you normally see out of Protoss. Well, they might not use a turret in the same way, but that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, at least with the Hierophant graphic, which I think is from Diablo or something, right? Like, it sort of has the same look as it. Like, obviously, I should probably get into Photoshop at some point and remove the fucking blue thing, because that's obviously stupid. But it has that, like, robotic sphincter thing, as you so kindly put it, right? And it looks like it's similar to a Dragoon in construction. So, like, that would make sense, you know? I don't know. I do wish we had better graphics to be able to do some of this stuff. Like, I'm going to have to take some time to really update some of the graphics that we have, because even the recolorings that are already out there are pretty bad. Like the immortal graphic. Okay, maybe I could see myself using that as like that could be like a more standard issue, like tier 2 Dragoon kind of thing, and I would obviously not be called an immortal, but the Terminus is meant to be this like end game, not end game, but it's meant to be like a really powerful unit, like more than just a tier 2 Dragoon. It's meant to be like a siege weapon that gains like increased relevance the longer the game goes on because of the upgrade passive that it has. It's meant to be this like very powerful, essentially a way to like allow Protoss some positional strength against armies that normally outrange it, basically. Yes, that immortal graphic is a placeholder for a placeholder, basically. But like that's the thing, is like the immortal graphic itself, it does not give you the impression of what the unit's like significance would realistically be. And maybe I can still make it work. Like maybe it's possible, but the main problem that I see with it is I would have to basically reduce the unit's like vital statistics and maybe raw damage, and make it so that in essence, it's just less impactful because of the fact that we like what we were just talking about, where the unit itself, it doesn't communicate the power and the impact that I need that graphic to have, that I need that unit to have, for it to like live up to the fantasy that I have in my head of the unit, you know? Spikes and flames. Not really. It just needs to be bigger. Like that's the main issue, is the scale of the graphic. Like it should show, like even the current placeholder that I have is not really fitting for that. But it should seem like a graphic that it's kind of cliche to say that it just needs to be bigger because bigger is like more imposing or something, but realistically speaking it is to some degree. Like if I had full control over the art style or the direction or whatever of the unit, then there would be more things to it that were imposing other than its sheer size. But it definitely would have something to do with like there would be something that would set it apart, that's for sure. Like one of the things that I wanted the Hierophant to have is this feeling of like almost nobility, where it's like, oh, this is like a high up man or something, because it's essentially meant to be like a High Templar reincarnated into a Dragoon. Like basically what Dragoons are to Zealots, like that's what the Hierophant is to the High Templar. And so I wanted to like tap into that, right? And have that be like this sense of nobility to it. Obviously, the voice acting of the Hierophant is more like my idea of what a High Templar might sound like. Some very it's a very different take on the nobility within the Templar cast than what Blizzard did, because Blizzard just has these guys that like have this raspy ass voice for no fucking reason. Where I think it makes more sense for them to speak as if they have authority and confidence. The only way that I can imagine something like that raspy voice working is if it's like maybe that could be the voice of the Archon or something, where the current voices also leaves a lot to be desired for the Archon. But you could have something where it's like the sheer power of the entity itself like stops it from being able to communicate along the same wavelength as it normally does. I'm not saying along the same wavelength scientifically. I just mean like metaphorically speaking. Like it doesn't allow it for enough space to really communicate the same way that normal Protoss do. And that could be like emphasized by the fact that these things are really short-lived or whatever. So like you could do a lot just with the voice profile is what I'm saying. But like the Hierophant, I wanted its audio visuals to communicate this sense of elegance and royalty in a sense. Some thing like that basically. But unfortunately it's unlimited to whatever I can find basically. And that is something that would be nice to fix, but I guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, we've just about cracked the 3-hour mark here. Not quite, but close enough for my liking. And it is past 10. I do have to get going here. Can't be making so much noise when it's a school night. My brother needs to wake up at a reasonable hour tomorrow. I need to wake up at a reasonable hour tomorrow. 3 indeed. So yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Appreciate everybody coming in and saying hi and giving me the birthday wishes. Always nice when this time of year comes around. And I will say, I thought last year's birthday was pretty epic because I was like, wow, this is the best I've ever been. Or like just I felt really good physically. It was nice to like I thought things were going well progress wise just in life. And I gotta say it's even better now than it was last year. So that is pretty epic as well. And something that in many ways, in some ways at the very least, I owe it to you guys for sticking with me and being that chat sounding board that I can always say like, what's this idea, and bounce it off of you guys and get some input. Like you guys have definitely been very helpful in that regard. And just even without that, service to the work, it's just nice to have a couple of people I can call friends to say, you know, get on Fraud Night or whatever. Let's play some games. That stuff is cool too. So really appreciate everybody's time and effort down the last year. And here's to another one. We won't have another full year of mod streams. I'll definitely be taking a break after the streak is concluded. But hey, we're only a couple weeks out for the full year of that too. So that's another epic thing in the making. So yeah, that'll do it. Man of you words. Thanks to everybody again. Mwah.